The record-breaking HBO series Game of Thrones came to an end last night, but not without controversy, of course. We want to warn you, there are spoilers ahead. If you have not had a chance to watch the final episode of the show, tune us out, turn us down, something like that. Step away from your screen. First, we should say that more than 1 million people were already disappointed. They started a petition to have the final season completely remade. That's before they even knew how the thing would end.
That's right. So I took a look at how difficult it is to find the perfect ending to a beloved series. Take a look.
Finalizing the rightful claim to the Iron Throne marks a pop culture milestone.
I've got to get out of this madhouse!
Joining iconic series finales from Newhart
You're all crazy!
to Breaking Bad.
I'm sure glad we went through it together.
An historic 105 million people tuned in when the sitcom MASH called it quits.
Yes, Penny.
Oh, do we have to go?
Big Bang Theory executive producer Steve Holland co-wrote last week's series finale.
We knew there was a lot of pressure from fans, but honestly, a lot of that pressure came from ourselves, too, and really wanting to get this right.
Because getting it wrong can taint a show's legacy.
I think it's going to be okay.
When Seinfeld ended after 9 seasons, fans were largely disappointed when the central characters wound up in jail.
That's not so bad.
And that was before the age of social media.
If you read the internet, you will read the worst thing that you've ever thought in your darkest, deepest moment that anyone would ever say about you.
The Sopranos finale cut to black, seemingly mid-scene. But like many finales, it generated plenty of conversation.
It creates an excitement for people to gather around the next day and talk about it and praise it and criticize it, and that becomes this sort of communal part of the show. I think that is as much a part of the show as what ends up, on television.
So joining us now to discuss the controversial series finale is TV editor of the AV Club, Erik Adams. And again, we want to warn everyone, spoilers ahead, all that sort of stuff. As everyone already knows, I have not watched one episode of Game of Thrones.
She's the one who's just happy that the series is over, so we don't have to keep talking about it around her. Or people on Twitter who are like, Anne-Marie, how do you not know how to pronounce Daenerys' name?
Indeed. So I have just really one question for you, Erik. I mean, are you one of those people that are upset about the way this thing ended, or how do you feel?
I think it was fine. TV show endings like we just watched in that package are really hard to get right. You've got a lot riding on it. You've got a lot of fans that have placed a lot of great expectations on their favorite show coming to a conclusion that they're going to agree with, and odds are they're not going to agree with it. And, even with all of the signatures that have signed on to that petition, I think last time I looked at it, it's about 1.2 million people. That's still a very small fraction of the audience of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's a good point. So listen, this is where I sort of check out.
She's literally bought her earbuds to put them on.
Tell me when this is over.
So, Erik, I know we told our viewers that there are some spoilers that are ahead, but I'm going to try to dance around some of the biggest moments of the finale last night. You and I will know what we're talking about. If you saw the show last night, they'll know what we're talking about. But if you haven't seen it, it will give you the impetus to, the incentive to watch it. So,
sure.
What did you think of how do you think that they resolved Dany's story? Did you agree with the way they resolved her story?
I think I would have agreed with it if the show would have had the amount of time that it had in the past to kind of develop that story and develop that turn that her character takes. We're looking at this arc of this character that we've known for almost 10 years now, that took this very abrupt 180 turn in a handful of seconds last week. And so now we got to sort of look at her as the very sort of tyrant that she's been rallying against the entire series in the finale here. So, if she were to be bumped off that throne, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing for the people of Westeros.
Yeah, it struck me, I agree with you 100% about that, because I just thought to myself, look, they had been teasing going back, several seasons that she was on a path to inherit the narrative around the Targaryens, right? But the show had taken so many risks going back to its very first season with the death of Ned Stark that I thought maybe they were going to push against the narrative and actually have you say, oh, she doesn't become a mad queen. She, in fact, is able to be a benevolent ruler. And instead, they kind of went where we probably thought she was headed, even though the writing didn't show us that that's where she was going to take that hard turn.
Yeah, and I think that's probably where a lot of the upset and disappointment from the fans is coming from, is that, the show did really make its reputation for, quote unquote, subverting expectations. That's one of the lines in the fan petition alludes to that very specifically. And, something like Ned dying in the first season is very unexpected and kind of set the course for the show as it went on. And I think really what happened is as the show got longer and it built toward what seemed like it was going to be a conclusion, it kind of revealed itself to be a more conventional narrative.
There are some people, so we also know that Jon Snow, again, without giving away all the details, ends up right back where he kind of started in season 1. And I actually was fine with that because I always thought that he was sort of like, I can't stand emo type characters. I mean, part of the hero's journey is once you realize what's at stake, you then grab that mantle. And I understand that George R.R. Martin didn't want to tell us a conventional hero story narrative, but he was so blasé about everything, like, get back to the wall, buddy.
Well, I can't wear these glasses and be disappointed with an emo character, but I totally agree with you there. Like, Jon is ineffectual and really for this entire time, even when he found out that just maybe he's related to the royal lineage, he didn't want that power. He didn't want that throne. And so, like, it's perfectly fine for him to kind of get this full circle moment at the end.
Erik Adams, you're a TV editor at AV Club. I've been a big fan of AV Club since it first launched. You'll always find me not under my name, but I'm always arguing with people in many of the threads. So I appreciate you coming on and having this conversation on television with us or on streaming because you'll see me talking about it online very soon.
I think I successfully.
What's your username, lad?
What's that?
What's your username?
He's not going to tell you.
I don't want to give it away.
You got to be a little slicker than that. Just ask it outright. I think I successfully blocked you guys out, and so someday I will catch up on this entire thing, and
then we'll really have an in-depth
all brand new to me.
Erik, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you very much.